Good afternoon. I hope you all had a lovely Pesach. Those of you who were able to be with us here in Lakeview know that we had a lovely Pesach here, which included one full day of really glorious spring weather, but also really nice sedarim at the shul and in the community, and a lot of really spirited davening in the shul as well. I'd like to share with you an idea that I heard recently by Rabbi David Lichtenstein. It's not his initial insight either. It's teaching by Rav Nachman of Breslov, which I find really powerful, especially this Shabbat immediately following the aftermath of Yom HaShoah, the day that the Jewish community dedicates to commemorating the Holocaust. And the insight Rav Nachman builds upon a curious phrase in the Musaf Kedusha for Shabbos. This, you know, it's one of those things you say every week, and maybe you notice, maybe you don't notice. There's an oddity right there in the words. Kvodo Melei Olam. We sing, God's glory fills the world, and then we say Mishar Tav Shoz Alim Zeh Yeh Mekom Kvodo. Then God's ministering angels then ask one another, where is His glorious place? So if God's place fills the world, why does anyone have to ask where God's place is, right? It's everywhere, okay? God should be easily accessible. God's presence should be manifest all around us because if God's glory fills the world, then how could you ask where God is? Okay, if you have the answer to that question, all right, let me know. Rav Nachman says, read it differently. Ayeh Mekom Kvodo. God's place is the ayeh. That's the asking. It's the question. That's where God's place is. Yeah, Kvodo Melei Olam. Sure, God created the whole universe, and somehow God's presence is there in the universe. But we can't expect to perceive it. What we can do is note the absence of God's apparent presence and yearn for that awareness, and seek that perception, and that seeking, that questioning, that's God's place. And we have an allusion to this as well in the beginning of our parasha, where we're warned, right, to don't just come into the Kodesh Kedoshim, don't come into the Holy of Holies, because be'enan eira'el hakapar, God's presence is going to be there, okay? And so it's a dangerous place to walk into without preparation. But how is God's presence there? Is there a statue of God? Is there a picture of God? Can you just walk in and chat with God there? No, it's the anan eira'el hakapar. Even there, it's a cloud in which God is appearing. So you can't really see anything, or you perceive whatever you perceive. It's through murkiness. It's through clouds. Ayeh Mekom Kvodo. But if we seek, if we ask, we note what's lacking. Okay, that's God's place. I wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Looking forward to seeing you all soon.